been for women where services were provided by women. It started out as a diploma school of nursing for St. Mary's Hospital, and today is a transitional home for women and homeless children. This is what it was originally designed by Kirkpatrick and Cannon, which is the precursor of Cannon design. 1928, Georgian Revival style, beautiful brickwork and stone detailing, and very, very nice wood detailing to it as well. The building was originally a part of this complex. The hospital across the street had been built in 1913 and was connected to the residents via a tunnel so that the nurses could go back and forth. This was one of the major providers of health services in Niagara County for many, many years. Originally in the 18th century, nurses were viewed very negatively with this whole charwoman appearance. Drunks, essentially, is what they were. And there was a whole movement by Florence Nightingale to raise this profession to somewhere where it would be respected. And she did this in the Crimean War period. One of the things that she used were, in her Nightingale model, were Nightingale residences. And these were elegant homes that were built that were the training and the residences for the nurses, so that it would attract people of a better class into the profession. And it worked. And one of the things that worked with it was they kept the bedrooms very, very small, only 9 feet wide by 13 feet long, so that there would never be more than one student in a bedroom. These were women who came from homes where they had their own room. So they had elegant spaces, they had their own room, it would have a closet, it would have a sink, and they were treated very well. In Niagara Falls, it worked. The women who were attracted there were some of the finest women in the area. One of those was Mary Catherine Toohill, who went on to create the Center for Young Parents that continues to empower women today. She became Mary Deister. Her son is Paul Deister, who was mayor of Niagara Falls. As time went on, though, the building began to decline. The nurses left, they went to Niagara University, then sections used it as a seminary for a while, they left. Several failed development projects, and the building ended up being abandoned. And eventually, the building was taken over by the city of Niagara Falls. It was boarded up, and vagrants started to move in. The rooms were becoming damaged. Fires were being set in some of the rooms. And for almost 20 years, the condition of the building just continued to deteriorate. And as you can see, some of those beautiful elements were very much changed. Especially the wood surfaces on the outside, like this one, the pergola that was on the roof. You can see what was happening there. But if you see this flat roof, when I got there, it was covered with several inches of water that had been sitting on the roof for almost 20 years. The effect of that water on this flat roof was devastating. It made its way all the way down through. Now this is the first floor. Things don't look too bad there. You can still picture what the elegant space was like there on the first floor. But when you went to the upper floors, the story was very, very different. And in the next slide that we're going to see, 20 seconds is longer than you expected. This is one of the rooms on the upper floor. You can see what's happening there. The deterioration of the wood surfaces, the plaster is beginning to fail and fall. And in general, the building just continued to decline as that water made its way further down and further down and further down. And it was clogged drains, essentially, is what had caused this problem. This was a hallway that was seen on one of the floors. And what happened is you couldn't develop this building. Nobody wanted it. Until Carolyn Van Schaik, the late Carolyn Van Schaik, who was a community activist and a lawyer, went to the YWCA with the idea of getting public funding and historic preservation tax credits to change this building into something else. When you see spaces like that, you know there's a great potential for what could be done in a building like this. And what was happening is that she brought me in as a historic preservation consultant, and I worked with the architect Jim Singer, who was with Laura Manguso at the time, and created spaces like this. This is that former auditorium you just saw. It's now used as a daycare and preschool for the children who are in there. There's offices on the lower floor. He's put an apartment up in the area up above that. But what happens here now is these spaces are very functional, and it allows these women to be able to be educated and housed there. Secretary of Interior Standards says you have to keep those hallway spaces as circulation spaces. All those doors you see, most of them don't go into anything because they don't have those 9-foot rooms anymore. They go into very spacious apartments that the women get to live in. Up on the roof, the pergola has been restored. The women have picnics up there. They watch the fireworks a few blocks away at the falls. And then all of this whole building has just been rejuvenated, mostly by historic preservation tax credits and Department of Housing and Community Renewal funding that allowed this project to happen. So finally, what is this building about today? It's about the same thing that it was when it started. It's about women empowering other women. And here women learn a trade, they learn how to become functioning and contributing members of the community, and they do so in a building like this. That's Carolyn's house.